All right, good evening, one and all. Welcome to the January 13th Complete Streets Commission meeting. This is a teleconference meeting with Complete Streets Commission members, city staff, and members of the public participating remotely to ensure proper social distancing in the federal, state, and local emergency. We're now on to the roll call. I would like to introduce Complete Streets Commission members and staff. I'm Chair Adina Levin, and the commissioners present include Jackie Cebrian, John Comey, Patricia Espinosa, Bill Kirsch, Lydia Lee, and Mike Meyer. Commissioners who are absent include Katie Baruzzi and Isaac Wyatt. Staff present include Kevin Chen and Patrick Palmer. Patrick, can you please provide the instructions to the Complete Streets Commission and members of the public on how the meeting will proceed from here?
Yes, thank you, Chair Levin and members of the Complete Streets Commission. Welcome everyone to the January 13th Complete Streets Commission meeting, and thank you for attending. At this time, we ask that the members of the commission to please remain on screen for the duration of the meeting. You will be able to control your own webcams and microphones. Staff will engage webcams and microphones to make presentations and respond to the members of the commission. For members of the public who are in attendance and wish to provide public comment, after the chair calls for public comment on the item you wish to speak on, please engage the raised hand feature. I will then have the ability to open your microphone and you can provide your public comment to the Complete Streets Commission. If you do not have a working microphone, please type your comment into the chat feature and staff will read it out loud. That concludes the instructions and I return the meeting to the chair.
All right, thank you very much. So moving on to item C, reports and announcements, where staff and commissioners may communicate general information of interest regarding matters within the jurisdiction of the commission, and no commission discussion or action can occur in any of the presented items. Kevin, do you have any reports and announcements?
I do, thank you, Madam Chair. So first of all, just hope you had a nice holiday break. First meeting of the year, so welcome back, everyone. Just a few quick announcements. So first, I just wanted to brief the commission with some city council changes. So we do have a new mayor, Drew Combs is now our new mayor. Vice mayor is Vice Mayor Betsy Nash. And also we have a new Complete Streets Commission liaison. It will be Councilwoman Cecilia Taylor. So it's a quick update. Also, just a few action items that have taken place by the City Council that I want to briefly update you on. So the City Council did have a brief discussion last night regarding the work plan, and it is set to come to the public with a meeting likely within the next month or so. So definitely want to stay tuned for that. Also, the City Council approved the Menlo Park Community Campus to the next stage. So this is a really exciting news for the public and especially for the Belhaven neighborhood. So looking forward to that as well. Also, just want to briefly update you on a thing that was mentioned by the city manager last night. As you all know, the state and our county specifically is currently under the regional stay-at-home order. And with that, there is a outdoor dining that is prohibited as part of that stay-at-home order. And as a result of that, the city manager is expected to go to the city council within the next few weeks or so to talk about specifically the Santa Cruz Avenue closure. As many of you might know, the closure was supposed to be active until the end of February. But given the stay-at-home order and given all the nuances that goes along with that, the city manager decided to will be going to the city council with a recommendation specifically for that item. So definitely want to stay tuned for that. And outside of City of Menlo Park, I just wanted to briefly update the commission on one particular project, which is the Dumbarton Rail Corridor project. For those of you that are interested, I don't have much information about that, but it is my understanding that they are expected to hold some community meetings in early 2021. Specifically, obviously, to talk about the progress of the project. So as soon as I have additional information that I can share with the commission, I'll make sure to do so. So with that, I will conclude my reporting.
Okay. So adding to that, which is I think sufficiently close that it may be relevant for us to pay attention, where the City of Redwood City advanced the next phases of business plan study for a ferry connecting to the Redwood City Ferry, going to San Francisco and Oakland. So that is also a thing we're planning is happening. Are there any other commissioners that have items to add to reports or announcements? Hearing none and not seeing any public hands on the reports and announcements, moving on to public comment, where under public comment, members of the public may address the Complete Streets Commission on any subject that is not listed on the agenda. Each speaker may address the commission once under public comment for a limit of 3 minutes. Please clearly state your name and address or political jurisdiction where you live. The commission cannot act on items not on the agenda, and therefore the commission cannot respond to non-agenda items brought up under public comment other than to provide general information. Patrick, do we have any public comment?
I'd also just like to remind the public who are in attendance and wish to provide public comment after the chair calls for public comment, an item you wish to speak on, if you could just use the raised hand feature. Or if you don't have a working microphone, please just comment into the chat feature and I can read it out loud. At this time, it does not look like we have a public comment. Maybe give it a second. No, I don't think we do.
Okay, so moving on to item E, regular business, where the commission considers recommendations from city staff on policy matters or administrative actions that require commission approval. We will start with approving the Complete Streets regular meeting minutes of December 9th. Any feedback on the minutes? Any motions on the minutes?
I move to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
I move to second.
All right, can staff help us to get a vote?
Great, thank you very much, Chair Levin. So if I can, maybe by a show of hands, for those that vote yes for this particular item. Commissioner Kirsch, I believe you were absent, so great, I think that's unanimous. So I'll take Commissioner Kirsch.
I couldn't remember if it was that one or the one before.
Yes, it was that. This one. Okay, great. Thank you very much. I believe that is unanimous, with the exception of Commissioner Kirsch. Great. We can move on to the next item.
Okay. So the next piece is to evaluate the commission subcommittee to support city council priorities. We had a extensive discussion at the last meeting, walking through potential subcommittees, and we are hopefully ready to make some decisions. Kevin Chen, the senior transportation engineer, will introduce this.
Great, thank you, Madam Chair. So like you mentioned, we did have a very extensive discussion about this. So this is really just a kind of a house cleaning item. I will read off 3 specific action items, and then obviously open the floor to any discussions. And then if there's none, then I will open the floor for a vote or a motion of a second. So the 3 specific tasks. The first one is to decommission the Transportation Master Plan Subcommittee. This is in response to the Transportation Master Plan getting approved. The second action is to form or establish a Transportation Master Plan Implementation Subcommittee with Chair Levin and Commissioner Cibrian being the 2 members. Of course, at this time, if there's any interest, definitely feel free to speak up. Or if both Chair Levin or Commissioner Cibrian have any changes that you would like to make, certainly would be okay to bring that up too. If not, the third item is to remove Chair Levin from the Downtown Access and Parking Subcommittee. So there was a discussion about essentially workload, and that was the direction that was provided by the commission. So those were the three items that I would need a motion and a second and a vote to proceed.
I move to approve those recommended changes.
Right? Okay, I believe Chair Levin's second. So at this point, if I can have commissioners a raise of hand, show of hand to approve this item, please raise your hand.
Before we do that, I want to check and see if there's anybody else that wanted to, who either wasn't present or who thought about it and want to join any additional subcommittees like the ones mentioned or any others on which there is room. So anybody else interested in the Transportation Master Plan implementation?
Hey, Adina,
Yeah.
does it make sense to just go over really quickly what the charge of that subcommittee is going to be doing?
Mm-hmm. Kevin, can you help with the notes from last time? And also in the interest of Brown Act compliance, I will disclose that I am listening while getting some water from behind me.
I'm just going to say, I'm just keep in mind, if there's any subcommittee that deals with nachos, I'm on board with joining that. So just leaving it out there for the public.
And you're certainly welcome to establish a new nacho subcommittee if you wish. To respond to Commissioner Lee. So this is really, I see it as the next step to the Transportation Master Plan. And I believe, and obviously Chair Levin can correct me if I'm wrong, but this is really providing the subcommittee an opportunity to look at the projects that are recommended overall and really try to help the City Council prioritizing the type of projects that the subcommittee deem is of benefit to the city overall. Of course, using all the evaluation criteria such as greenhouse gas reduction, safety, all those parameters that went into sort of prioritizing the projects as part of the Transportation Master Plan. It will be further be evaluated, and ultimately the end product would be a recommendation of maybe projects of sort that could go on to the various policies and documents that we have. And specifically, I think the capital improvement program would be one that is of value to be evaluated and addressed as part of this subcommittee. So I see that as a very high level work that is looking at the TMP, the Transportation Master Plan, and really providing that high level guidance rather than drilling into specific projects.
Mm-hmm. That is a fair statement based on my understanding. Anybody else interested in participating in that? Okay.
Okay, so seeing none, I do have a motion and a second on the floor. So if I can have everyone that would like to vote yes, raise your hand, please. Okay, I'm seeing commissioners. Okay, I see Commissioner Comey, great. Commissioner Espinoza, I do not see your hand. Do you have a comment or feedback? Okay, that's a yes vote, I assume. Perfect, okay, that would be unanimous for the commissioner present. Great, Madam Chair, we can move on to the next topic.
Okay. And we, I guess we did not ask for public comment. If there's any public comment, members of the public, feel free to raise your hand, which I'm still not seeing any. So we'll move on.
Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I forgot about that. Thank you.
Okay, so the next step is with the subcommittees to review and approve the Complete Streets Commission work plan, and Kevin Chen will introduce this item.
Great, thank you, Madam Chair. So this is once again a sort of a house cleaning item, if you will. So as many of you know, we had a fairly extensive discussion about subcommittees at the last meeting, and as a result of that, it does require a slight modification to our work plan, specifically regarding the transportation master plan. So I am going to go ahead and share my screen with the commission, just so that you can see the verbiage that is being recommended to be changed. And if there's any additional feedback, obviously feel free to bring it up now. But if not, this would be sort of the modified work plan. And I am seeking a vote tonight to approve it, which hopefully if this passes tonight, then the next step is to go to the city council for approval. And at this, one other thing that I'm looking for tonight, as many of you know, when a commission goes to the city council with a new work plan or an update, typically we would designate someone from the commission to go and speak, to provide a quick update about the accomplishments, or in this case, the work plan that we're anticipating for the upcoming year. So in addition to approving the work plan, I am also looking for a volunteer for the commission to vote on and hopefully present this particular item at the city council meeting. So I do need someone that can commit to attending the meeting. Usually it is 5 p.m. on a particular Tuesday. I am anticipating that this might go to the city council in February. So that will be hopefully another criteria that I can provide you right now as you think about whether or not you'll be interested in attending that meeting. So the first item that I'm looking for then is if there's any...
Can the font size be, or can the screen be blown up
Yes.
so that people can more easily read it?
Absolutely. Give me 1 second. Let me try to maximize the screen here. Here we go.
Great.
I believe that's the best I can do at this point. Actually, maybe one more. Oh, there we go. So as you can see, the change really is on item number 2, again, related to the transportation master plan. The previous verbiage was specifically geared toward the transportation master plan itself. And of course, with the adoption of the plan, we are moving on to the next stage. So it's really just a wordsmithing, if you will, of the second item. So maybe I'll give the commission a minute to read this and then see if there's any comments. Okay, I am not seeing any hands or any questions. So I'm gonna move on to the, sorry, Commissioner Kirsch.
So the nominally, our commission reports to the city council, what, every 3 months? I think that's supposedly the cadence, right? When a representative, typically the chair, goes and speaks to city council. I was wondering if, when I was chair, at least, we didn't get into a regular 3-month pattern. I sometimes felt like there wasn't enough communication from our commission to the council about what we were up to. And I'm wondering if there's any interest in maybe having monthly reports to the city council after every meeting. Maybe that's too much, but I feel like nominally we're supposed to present every 3 months, and I'm not sure that we do that. So sometimes I feel like everything that we do, much that we do here, evaporates.
Right, yeah. And some of this, I certainly, that is a great observation. I would say that in the pre-COVID era, we did at least one review a year. And that is actually in accordance to the commission guidance. The commission guideline says that at least one update a year. If the commission overall has a desire to make it more frequent, I think the city council certainly will welcome every 3 months. So we can certainly do every 3 months. I would say every month is probably a little bit more time consuming and a lot of commitment for the chair and maybe the vice
Yeah.
chair. Yeah, but I think certainly 3 months could be obtainable.
Mhm. And I think a good addition to that, and I agree both with the idea of keeping council apprised of what we're doing and with a cadence of quarterly-ish being not unreasonable and monthly being a lot, especially given all the things on council's plate. And I think one thing that might help us would be a short standing item, maybe after the committee reports, to ask us, is there anything that we want to be presenting to council?
Mhm.
And then that can help us, decide what to schedule. But it also could be that there's something that is like so obvious that it makes sense that in the prep for the meeting with staff, there's something that the chair and vice chair can suggest upstream without this meeting too. Like Lydia.
I mean, one thing that we haven't been doing is to have some sort of communication with the Complete Streets Commission liaison, which is now Cecilia Taylor. So that is yet another possibility where we kind of update the liaison separately about what's going on. Again, just another channel we haven't been taking advantage of yet.
Mm-hmm. That is additionally good. I think it's not like one or the other, but I think that is complementary.
Great. Yeah, I think those are great suggestions, and we can certainly work that out offline as well to make sure that everyone's on the same page.
Mm-hmm. Bill.
I like your idea about maybe at the end of every meeting, if there's anything that we feel that was discussed during the meeting that we want to communicate to the city council, that we can keep a running list, and then when the quarterly presentation comes up, that item is there.
Great. So seeing no other hands, oh, sorry. Commissioner Siegel.
To that end, I guess one question, which maybe isn't in the way of us approving it or anything, but would we be allowed, like at the end of a meeting, if we had a thing, to Commissioner Kirsch's point, like that we really thought we wanted to make sure was communicated to council, would that be the kind of thing that we could sort of drop an email to our liaison? Would that be a thing that is like, I don't know if that's not allowed, but you know what I mean? Anyway, it's just another idea to sort of, as we finish up, instead of somebody dedicating themselves to go to the city council meeting, that we could, somebody can send an email to our liaison's council address so that she'll have it in case she wants it for city council purposes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think that if we have the standing agenda item about how to communicate to council, then we can say, hey, here's the thing to ping the liaison, or here's the thing that we actually want to present. And I don't think that they're necessarily the same thing. And like, for example, because of the Brown Act, our liaison won't be able to tell all of her peers except in a meeting. And if it's something that we think is really important, we'll want to describe it ourselves rather than relaying it through the liaison, but maybe there's some things that we do want to relay. So I think that if we have a standing agenda item, that's something that will help, remind us for what we want to communicate and how we want to communicate it. But cool.
Yeah, I think those are great feedbacks, and I think I have an understanding of what the commission is looking for. I will talk to the city clerk just to make sure that what's the best way to approach this subject matter.
I'm not seeing any more hands from the council, the commission, nor any hands from members of the public. So can staff help us approve this?
Yeah, well, so there's a couple other things I wanted to bring up first. So this is, just wanted to make sure that if the commission, any commissioners has any interest in adding things to this list, or if any additional modifications. I know this is something that staff had presented, but I wanted to open the floor just to make sure that there's no other commissioners want to add things to this list. Okay, sounds good. Well, in that case, perhaps we can, if we can also have someone either volunteer or to present this at the city council meeting. I know traditionally it's been done by the chair, so I guess the honor would go to the chair first, and if the chair can't make it, then maybe we'll select someone else.
I am 97% likely able to make it on any given Tuesday. It is likely that sometime before mid-March I will do some travel, but I will still be able to make phone calls. So, so assume that I will be able to do it unless otherwise notified. It will be not unhelpful to have a backup in the unlikely event that I'll be like on an airplane on that Tuesday, but that's not very likely.
Okay, great. If that's the case, I guess we can consider the chair to be the primary, and then maybe if the chair, vice chair, would you be available to be kind of the alternate in the case that the chair can make it? Yes, that would be Vice Chair Lee.
Sure, I can do that.
Okay, great. Okay, so well, I guess we can add that to the motion as well. So great. So in that case, let me just kind of restate the motion. The motion is to approve the modified work plan. So this will be our 2020 to 2021 work plan. And also to designate the chair as a primary and the vice chair as a secondary to present this work plan to the city council at a future meeting. So if I can have a motion and a second, and then I'll call for the vote.
I'll move to approve the motion.
Okay,
Second.
great. So that would be Vice Chair Lee, motion, Commissioner Cibrian, second. So for those that would like to vote yes, please raise your hand. Great. I see you, Commissioner Comey. Thank you. Great. So that's unanimous for the commissioners present. Awesome. Thank you very much. I'm gonna go ahead and unshare my screen real quick so we can bring this back.
All right, so we're going to move on to informational items, which are transmitted to the commission in staff's effort to provide an update on matters of importance to the commission. These are not action items. However, the commissioner, city staff member, or member of the public may request to make a comment or ask a question on any of the informational items. And the informational item here is an update on major project status. Kevin, are there any major projects that have status updates?
Great, thank you very much. Not that many projects that I can update at this point. I do want to just bring to the commission's attention that we do anticipate to come to the commission next month for the Transportation Management Association study, so the TMA study. I know it's been postponed a couple of times due to good reasons, but we are hopeful to come to the commission in February. And that would be my update.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
Just had a question
Bill.
for Kevin. Kevin, what is the update on, if any, on the undercrossing, the middle undercrossing?
Right. Not much update at this point. I believe we're still waiting to hear back on one of the grant opportunities that we applied for late last year. So that would be the ATP grant that hopefully will cover a majority of the costs that will go towards the final design and the construction. But at this moment in time, there's no update that I can share with the commission.
Last question is, have things been worked out with Caltrain on timing and coordination, et cetera?
Right. So this is regarding the scheduling. There's just not much update that I can provide at this point. It has been sort of stationary at this point. I think I'll be able to provide a bit more update at the next meeting, hopefully. But right now it's a bit slow.
Okay.
Yes.
One other question update. The city council wanted staff to come back to council on a plan to moderate traffic speeds on Middle Avenue. And I'm wondering how that process is going and what the timing might be to get back with a plan to city council.
Yep, no, definitely. That's a great question. So as many of you know, that particular request is directly tied in with the personnel request that the staff had gone to the city council later toward the end of last year, which subsequently got tabled. And thank you for bringing that up. I actually probably should have updated you on this. So that particular item was discussed at the last night's city council meeting. It is my understanding that we have received approval to move forward with at least as far as transportation is concerned, the 2 additional FTEs that we had requested in the past. This will be, and the nature of it obviously is going to be a little bit different. I believe it's a shift in personnel. I think the community service, the library, has some opportunities to shift the personnel, so we're able to kind of shift that into transportation. What that means is that we now have the approval to move forward with the recruitment, and once we have the recruitment completed, we'll be able to have the new staff member on board and start that project. So I think in that regard, it is great news. Obviously, we have a lot of transportation projects that the city can work on, and specifically the Middle Avenue, the traffic calming project will be the first one to be able to benefit from the additional resource.
And will the new folks be, sorry, Dana, just last question. Will the new folks be the ones that'll be tasked with the Middle Avenue?
Most likely. Yeah, most likely. If not, obviously we'll be able to kind of shift that internally as well to find the most ideal candidate. I think what we're benefiting from this is having that additional resources to work on the project. Now, I don't necessarily want to commit the new team member to that project, but rest assured that we will have someone to be able to handle that project.
Thank you.
So just to add some information that will be relevant, there is expected to be some update on the schedule of Caltrain electrification coming soon. And this is based on presentation at their last board meeting, which is that the FTA, the feds, are reviewing the schedule, and it sure looks like there's going to be some delays announced. And so keep an eye out possibly in February for information about a different date, which instead of 22 might be like 2023 or 2024. So, and the dates that are different, like this is me speculating based on looking at information and not based on any public information. The public information is that the FDA is reviewing, and also based on public information, a delay looks pretty likely. So given that this project wanted to get done before Caltrain electrification was done, that may actually help us. So that was that. Let's see. So any other questions or anything relating to project updates before we move on to committee and subcommittee reports? All right, and I don't see any members of the public with hands raised on that. So moving on to committee and subcommittee reports. Is there any update from the Active Transportation Network Subcommittee from Commissioners Kirsch and Espinosa?
I don't have an update. Patrice, do you have anything?
Oh, I do not.
Okay.
All right. The Climate Action Plan Subcommittee did not meet. Are there any other subcommittee members who have anything to share relating to the Climate Action Plan? I actually have a question for staff relating to the climate action. Actually, never mind. I think I know the answer to my question. So, okay. Any update on G3 from the Downtown Access and Parking Subcommittee, which I am no longer on, but Patrice, do you have any update on that?
No update.
All right. Multimodal Metrics Subcommittee met once and ought to have another meeting coming up.
Wait, what is going on? Someone's got their sound on.
Do you have any
right?
idea?
Apologies, my
Yeah.
computer just decided to start playing a weird thing in the browser window that spontaneously, you know how that happens sometimes? It's awful, sorry.
Yeah, like that and the dancing robots, they will take over the world and destroy us all. On the multimodal subcommittee, we didn't meet, but I have a kind of nifty regional update in addition to the other nifty regional update from earlier, which is that Caltrain has just, the board decided at the last meeting to expand their Go Pass, which is their deep discount employer pass, to be able to also apply to contractors and part-time workers, and to allow employers to donate unused passes to nonprofits that are either, like it could be a TMA that has retail workers and small businesses that wouldn't qualify for a Go Pass, or social service agencies for people that would need affordable train passes. And this is the donation of the nonprofit donation is a 2-year pilot, and this is something that could be relevant to the TMA item that will be coming up to us. Jackie, anything to add there?
I should, but I haven't done anything extra on any of these. Trying to
Okay.
keep my head above the pandemic teaching water.
Speaking of teaching, moving on to the Safe Routes to School Subcommittee. Any updates from Commissioner Seabury and Early?
It's been pretty quiet on the Safe Routes to School front, so I have no updates. Jackie, anything to report?
Nope, but I'm patrolling them twice a day, every school day.
All right. So the Transportation Master Plan Subcommittee is obsolete, and the Transportation Master Plan Implementation Committee has not yet existed until now, so that will have nothing to report. Anything from the Zero Emission Subcommittee, Commissioners Meyer or Cromie?
It's been decided that zero emissions is a fad, and there's just nothing happening. No, I'm just kidding. There's no movement. Unfortunately, like everything else, COVID has ground everything to a screeching halt.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And
At least
also,
it's reducing emissions.
Yeah. Well, I guess, yeah, they're taking care of themselves right now since we're not doing anything. But something to give some thought to is that, with Mr. Kirsch and myself exiting in April being our last meeting, we need to start thinking about backfilling some of these things that we're on so we don't leave people stranded by themselves. And so I'd love to continue doing stuff, but I'm termed out, so I can't re-up anyway. So.
Okay, well, would you be interested in doing a presentation next time about what you have been working on to recruit people to potentially carry the baton?
Yeah, John and I could do something about that, assuming he's not driving.
Okay, so we can do that next month. Okay, so that has come to, unless there are any members of the public who have comments on any of our brief commission reports, the agenda item about what to report to council is clear, which is that it's going to be about the work plan. So that's covered. The next item on here is an early adjournment. So we'll adjourn the meeting to next month, the second Wednesday at the same bat time and the same bat Zoom channel.
Great.
Save your Amici's crusts for me, if you wouldn't mind, Adina.
If we just order a thing of crusts, I just like to have that delivered. Just crusts.
God, that was hard to watch. It made me really hungry.
Okay. Well, someday we'll be able to have meetings in person and share pizza and cupcakes.
Okay, very
Good
good.
night. I look forward to it.
Thank you, Kevin, Adina,
Good night, everyone.
Patrick,
Thank you, Madam Chair.
everybody.
Thanks.
Good night.